Part 1. Chapter 1. 2001. Charlie woke me up at 6 a.m. She was already dressed and ready to go when I rolled over and opened my eyes. The sun was shining on a perfect piece of early fall. Cold was just biting at the edges. The sky was a perfect, impossible blue. It was the kind of weather and sunshine that made me feel like I could do anything. Charlie loved mornings, always had. I hated them. I stumbled into the shower, which was just a faucet hanging above a bathtub in our friend's so-called kitchen. When I turned the spigot, Charlie turned on music. Rebel Girl by Bikini Kill blared through the apartment. I closed my eyes and ducked my head under the water, letting it find the knots in my hair. "Wake up, Zell!" she yelled. "I'll be ready," I groaned. Coffee would help. It helped with most things. "You could have let me sleep for another hour." "No way. We need to be sharp. That means you have to be awake long before we get there." She laughed. She meant before we got to our big meeting. "Sing with me!" We were in New York City, staying at our college best friend's apartment while she was in London with her girlfriend. We were there to pitch Pawn World to a bank, ask them to fund our online growth. Our presentation was scheduled for that morning, September 11th, 2001, in the World Trade Center. Every venture capital firm in Philadelphia had passed. 2 years of no's had brought us here. This was the last door I knew to knock on. If they said no, well, I didn't have a plan B. I was trying not to think about that. This was the first time I didn't have everything mapped out. Fallbacks and exits drawn in excruciating detail. "I have a good feeling about today," I called over the music. Charlie sang back, full voice, off-key and fearless, hitting every beat of the Bikini Kill song still blaring. She sang about a revolution that I understood to be personal, one that was loud, defiant, and already underway. She meant it. She always did. The apartment was a converted attic on the Upper West Side, carved out of eaves and angles. There were no ceiling lights. At night it was dim and close, but in the morning, light poured through the dormered windows. We had a view of the river on one side and Broadway on the other, everything visible, everything moving. The day before, we had sat by those windows for hours, rehearsing our pitch. I'd set up the projector, run through our slides exactly as we would in our meeting. If they were going to reject us, it would be because they didn't want to back women or a pawn shop, not because we were sloppy. While Charlie sang, I finished in the shower and started getting dressed, laid out what I could control. The deck was printed and ordered. My talking points were clear and exact in my head. The navy wool suit I'd wear was pressed and said I could be trusted with millions. Charlie turned off the music, and we went across the street to the closest diner. It had black and white tiles and speckled tabletops. We took a booth in the back near the window where it was quiet. Adrenaline was already thick in my system, and I couldn't sit still. My foot bounced. We had 2 hours until showtime. "We'll be okay," Charlie said. "Worst case, we go back to the old business." She was right, but I didn't want to give my life to that small shop in Philly when it could be so much more. When we could be so much more. "This has to work." We ordered pancakes and coffee. Charlie's phone rang. She checked the screen and grimaced. "My mom," she said. "I can't answer. I'm out of minutes." I groaned. "When we're rich, we won't keep track of our minutes. And I'll fly us to London and Rome," she smiled. "And Greece. I want to sun myself on the beach there." "Done," she said. She nodded toward the window. "Take her." She was starting us off on another round of our favorite game, the one where we made up lives for strangers. I studied the woman. Spandex shorts, an oversized sweatshirt, gym bag. Spin class, wheatgrass smoothie, inherited money, fiancé works on Wall Street. "That's all you've got?" Charlie crossed her arms. "Come on, Zell, you can do better than that PG fairy tale. At least say she's high or off to meet a lover." "See that guy?" She pointed to a man on a cell phone, shirt wrinkled, hands flying. Last night, he got drunk, went to a hotel with some guy he shouldn't have, woke up alone without his wallet. He's calling a friend to figure out what to do. I laughed. The description fit perfectly. Charlie was always better at this. She trusted the world to be interesting. I trusted it to be cruel. The waitress brought our pancakes. They were soaked in butter. I couldn't eat. My stomach churned. I imagined myself vomiting in a glass conference room. "Try not to be nervous," Charlie said. She reached for my hand and gave it a squeeze. "That makes it worse." I looked down at her hand, still holding mine. I had painted her nails red the night before. They flashed against my skin. Her small gold hoops bounced. "Breathe," she said. I did. Once. Twice. "I'm breathing so much I might hyperventilate." "Come on," she groaned and smiled. "Please eat something. It'll help calm you down." "Right. I can eat breakfast because we're only asking for $10 million. No biggie." "I think we should ask for 50, Charlie said. "I wouldn't know what to do with that." "You'd figure it out, all those guys do. And you're smarter. Remember, if boys can do it," I finished, "it can't be that hard." We both laughed at my grandmother's line. The first time I'd shared it with Charlie, she declared it would become our motto, and it had. Charlie took another big bite of pancake. A drop of butter hit her cuff. I watched her clean it off. I always watched her, the way she leaned forward, was open and unguarded. She drew people in without trying. People followed her because she assumed they would, because she believed the world would meet her halfway. I wanted to be like that, but couldn't. I stood behind her, planned for us both. That was our balance. Her faith, my caution. It was how we worked. "Say it," she said. "We're getting the money. We're getting the money." "You don't sound like you believe it." "I believe it," I said. She smirked, probably because she knew I didn't. "I'm telling you, they'll wire it this week." She looked out the window. "Let's go back to our game. Look at that guy. Wow, I definitely want to know his story. He is hot and—" She went quiet. I followed her gaze. The man she was focused on was wearing black jeans that sat low on his hips. He had a bag slung over muscled shoulders. His hair was tucked behind his ears. He wore a baseball hat pulled low so I couldn't see his face, but I didn't need to. I knew exactly who I was looking at, even though I hadn't seen him in 6 years. Ari Stone. My fork hit the plate. My heart kicked hard and fast. The world around me fell away, everything except for Ari. He could keep walking, I told myself. I could pretend this wasn't happening. "He doesn't see you," Charlie whispered, as if she could read my mind. She knew me that well. "You can still decide what you want to do." She was right. I had time to hide, run. I didn't. I stayed where I was. He stepped off the curb. I cataloged all the ways he was different. He was broader than I remembered, more solid. The boy fully gone. He moved the same way, unhurried, contained, taking up exactly the space he needed and no more. His jaw was sharper, the stubble along it darker. There was a new line between his brows, faint but permanent. What put it there? There was so much that was familiar, and so much that wasn't, like his mouth. The lips were the same, lips that could curve into a smile that undid me. He looked up, straight through the diner window, straight at me, and what crossed his face in that first unguarded second was the look I'd spent 6 years telling myself I'd imagined. It was the look of someone seeing the only person who'd ever made complete sense to them. Like I was something he'd been looking for, something he needed. 6 years. "You could say hello," Charlie said. My chest felt too tight. I closed my eyes to steady myself. When I opened them, Ari had stopped in the middle of the street. He was still looking straight at me. The old sadness was there in his gaze, too, but there was a new weight to it. Shock crossed his face, and another expression, one I knew. He was checking to see if I was okay, at least on the surface. Someone behind him just missed plowing into him. "Zelly," he said. I didn't hear it, I saw it on his lips. I stumbled to my feet. "I'm going to the bathroom." The door to the diner opened, the bell above it rang, and I froze. Then Ari was walking toward me, slowly, like he was giving me time to leave. His eyes never left my face, not once. It was how he had always looked at me. Like I was his entire universe, and my pain was something he felt in his own chest before I even knew I had it.